So now I just want to point out here, I have on these other frames some 2D drawings, and I've done this one with a little bit of shading on it and stuff. And I show here how I've got my rough layer there that I started out with. In this case, I did it in pink, and then I did my clean layer on top of that and got rid of my rough layer. Now, I wanted to illustrate from this frame, and that second drawing is really horrible, so I'm just going to delete it, why it's important to understand the difference between a camera and a scene and a panel. So think of it this way. A scene is wherever you want to have the camera angle change. So in this first one, I've got the ship from this angle, and then I pop over to a different angle. I'm now looking at the mast, the top of the mast. So this is a change in scene. But you can see here, these two have two different panels. And the reason I have two different panels from the same camera angle is because I want to have some animation on my character to show what the character is doing. So that's the difference between a scene and a panel. And wow, I'm like looking through the bowels of the ship here. That doesn't look very good. Maybe I'll just delete those camera keyframes. Let's do a much more simple camera move. Let's just do a pan for now. I'll still show it off a little bit. All right. So now the next question that you may be asking is, what about working with the timing of these panels and adding in some sound? Because sound is always a fun thing to work with. So if I want to add sound in here, I can right-click on my soundtrack, and then I can select Import Sound Sequence. And I've got a whole bunch of sounds in here. So I've got like sound effects, and I've got human voices and stuff like that. But let's just, I don't know, let's go back in the human category. Let's give some applause, because I think I'm awesome. No, I'm just kidding. So then when I drag that in, first I can hear it through the playback. Let's see, make sure my sound is on. Yeah, here's some applause. Okay, so, but I want to also be able to hear it when I'm scrubbing through, when I'm checking out what I'm doing with my storyboard. So if I want to hear it when I'm scrubbing, then I can right-click on the soundtrack down there, and I can select Sound Scrubbing. And now I can actually hear it as I scrub through my scene. And the reason that we have this separated from the sound scrubbing on the timeline and the sound scrubbing in the playback is that sometimes it's really annoying if you're just scrubbing through your scene and you're not trying to hear the sound. You don't want to hear it all the time. So that's why I have the ability to turn it off when I'm not working on my sound. Now, something else you might want to be able to do is take your sound file, and you might want to split it up into two pieces. It doesn't make so much sense with a sound effect, but when you have a long dialogue track and you have like different pieces of dialogue, you want to be able to split that up. And then you can move the pieces that you want to match with the panel that they're going to match with. So if this piece of sound is matching this panel here, I want them to kind of line up together. And then the last thing you might want to be able to do with your sound is to fade in and fade out. And that's what this blue line is for here. I can show this line if I right-click on there and select Show Volume. Then I can show the volume line, and I can do a left-click on there. And then that's going to allow me to fade into that sound. So if you picture, if I have multiple sounds in here, let me import a music track. I don't know what these music tracks are, but let's just do that one there. So I've got my music track that's happily existing in the background, and then I've got some applause happening on top of it. And I actually might want to just get that applause back to one big old piece of sound there. So you can actually have multiple soundtracks on top of each other. So if I go back here and I play through this, got some sound, and then on top of that I've got my applause. So I know that's not the most exciting scene file to look at, but let's go and take a look at some other stuff that's pretty exciting.